Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 335. I'm Ben, and with me here today are the beautiful and late boys. Greetings.
Just me.
Dave, since it's just you and I here tonight, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm really good actually. I went to work today and I got an unexpected promotion and raise. So
Whoa.
yeah, they added the word senior to my title. I don't know
Nice.
what that means, but I'm gonna drop the I and just go senior.
Yep.
I think it means you're old.
Sorry?
Senior, I think means you're old.
I guess so.
Yep.
Or experienced. Experienced enough to get a surprise promotion. So
Nice.
yeah, I guess they were like doing this reclassification thing and got a new title and a bunch of retro pay back to October. So
Wow.
yeah, we're looking good. We're feeling good. So it was a
Wow,
nice
dude.
day for sure.
Congrats.
Nice. Congrats. I love it, though. Like, sometimes people will be like, I got a promotion. It's like, did you get a raise, too? And they're like, nah. So that's not a promotion in my book, but you got a real promotion.
It is a real promotion. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to buy with all your extra wealth now?
So you know that episode of Seinfeld where Seinfeld is saying how like if something bad happens, something good always happens. Like when he threw $20 at the window and then he found $20 in his shirt pocket. So just last week I got a massive tax bill from the government of Canada, Mr. Carney. So this will offset that, I suppose. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there'll be a little left over, and I can buy. I really want a racing wheel for GT7. I've had on
Nice.
my eye on one of those for a while. Like not a crazy rig or anything, but just like a Logitech something or other. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll spoil myself in that way, but we'll see.
Nice. Brandon, Mr. Late, which I don't really care that much, but also screw you, right? Like I have to be a
Yeah.
little bit upset.
Yeah.
Would you care to tell us what you were doing?
Well, so I started watching a Resident Evil 4 speed run. And then I decided that, I want a nice little snack. And so I set my phone down in the living room. I paused the video and then I went out to make myself some nice Greek yogurt, a little bit of chia seeds, a little bit of berry medley. And I was going to let the chia seeds soak a bit in the yogurt. So I was kind of dilly-dallying. I put away my leftovers from dinner. And then I come back out and I saw Ben called me. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Why the fuck is he calling me? And then I called you back. And I forgot that it was Wednesday.
You're really gonna blame the chia seeds, aren't you?
No, Brandon, you got this new job, and we were really happy for you, genuinely. But as part of that, we moved the podcast to Wednesday so you could still be a part of it. And I not only moved my schedule, Dave moved his schedule. I had to move other people's schedules to rearrange other things for me. And you're just going to say some chia seeds and a speed run of RE4 almost screwed that up? Like,
Correct.
how dare you?
So at any point today, did you know that the podcast was happening?
I honestly, no, I didn't even think about it all day, honestly.
So all day you forgot it was Wednesday.
I honestly kind of thought that it was Tuesday for most of the day. So I thought it was like, oh, that's tomorrow. But it's not tomorrow, it's today.
It is. Yeah, it actually is, in fact, today.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a good excuse.
So you guys got a weird week, though, because it's a holiday on Friday.
Mhm.
Does everyone sort of in brain fog mode when it comes to just anticipating that long weekend?
I think I'm just permanently in brain fog mode, and I have to work until 8
Try to
p.m.
give you an out
anyway,
there,
so,
but sure.
yeah, no, I will not. I will only take things that make sense to be given to me, and this is not. Guys, I got a pedicure this morning. It was really nice. Have you guys ever got a pedicure?
That's hands or feet? That's feet, right? Oh yeah.
You really just had to do that
The black toes,
on
baby.
the show.
Yeah, so like the
There's a sneak peek into our Patreon, the higher levels.
right.
Those
Yeah,
of
my
you
brother.
listening on free feeds.
My brother was asking me, so tune in Wednesday at 7 p.m. and you get some extra perks like this if you're an audio listener. If I can make it on time, but yeah, I got a pedicure this morning. It was incredibly nice, very relaxing. And my brother had asked me if I was going to get my toes painted, and it's just part of the price. So yeah, I'm gonna get my toes painted. People don't usually see me without my socks on anyway. And it's kind of fun. It's like when I first step out of bed, because I've done this one other time. When you first step out of bed and you like put your feet down and you look down, it's something different. Like women take that for granted. But like when I get out of bed, I won't remember that my toenails are painted. And then I'll like look down and be like, oh. It's like when you rearrange something in your house and it's like it's the same thing you already had, but it's in a different spot. It like gives you a new view on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like it. I'm not going to go out of my way to paint them, but if I'm getting a pedicure, like my toes are like very suckable right now.
This is revelatory to me, Brandon. It's revelatory to me that when you look down, you don't know whose feet they are, and that's new to you. That's an interesting perspective.
What I'm saying is that I look down at my feet every day and I don't even think of it. It's like the same thing you pass every day. It almost becomes blind to you. But when I look down now, it's not just my feet. Like there will be a thought involved with it. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
When you get a new car or rearrange your room or something like that.
Exactly. Dave
it's all the same stuff. It's just slightly different.
Exactly.
Well,
So-
the whole
And
new
if you don't
car
want to
thing,
paint your toenails,
new.
if you don't want to paint your toenails a color, you can do like the clear coat thing, right?
Yeah, I know. That's kind of what my brother suggested, but also like that's not fun.
Yeah.
What did your brother think of just the fact you were getting a pedicure, let alone the fact you were getting your nails painted?
It's really irrelevant what he thinks about it, but I'm sure he didn't like it.
I mean, I know I agree it's irrelevant. I was just curious of what his reaction was.
No, probably a good eye roll or a good whatever makes you happy is what I typically get.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you. I wish you hadn't given anyone ammunition by showing them your feet, but
No, it's perfectly okay. $5 level on Patreon will get you this kind of treatment.
you just give it away for free, bro.
No, that was a sneak peek.
Oh, okay. That's close-ups later.
And that was only one of the 2 feet that are painted, so.
Yeah, that's fair. This is the HP. Oh my god, I don't even know. Like, this is the HP podcast.
I just pictured him like picking up that massive bottle, but with his feet and drinking from it.
Like Dwight on The Office when he's trying to drink his coffee.
I bet you'd like that, white boy.
This is the HP podcast. We talk about video games and pedicures most of the time. You can check us out, well, right here, every Wednesday night at 7 or 7:15 if Brandon's watching a Resident Evil speedrun. Or you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/handsomephantom, where you can sign up to help support us for as little as $1 a month. You can go higher than that if you want, but the $1 gets you the ad-free early access, so we appreciate it. Excuse me. You can also join our Discord at handsomephantom.com/discord for totally free. No cost necessary except being subject to our weird personalities. We appreciate any of you who are already there as well. Let's talk about some video games. Today, the hammer dropped, which we knew this was coming, or we had heard it was coming for a little while. And by the way, boys, I'm just going to go ahead and say, I don't think it's done. I don't think we've seen the last of things. But WindowsCentral.com says Microsoft is closing down Xbox Studio, The Initiative, with Perfect Dark killed as well, joining Everwild and ZeniMax's new IP and other unannounced projects. Sorry, 1 second. Earlier, we reported exclusively that Perfect Dark was on the chopping block as part of Microsoft's latest round of cuts. Now we can confirm the sad news. Today, Microsoft revealed broad layoffs hitting 4% of its global workforce across every division at the company. Many of those layoffs are hitting Xbox, with staffers in various departments receiving notice today. Many of those affected include Xbox Studio, The Initiative, which is sadly being closed down. Perfect Dark was set to be a revival of Rare's classic stealth IP from the early 2000s. The team at The Initiative was set up in 2018 with studio heavyweights including leader Daryl Gallagher of Tomb Raider fame. Gallagher's former team at Crystal Dynamics was working together with Microsoft on Perfect Dark, and that partnership will also now conclude. Microsoft is shutting down the initiative as a result of the game's cancellation. Microsoft says it will work with staffers to provide severance and support and has encouraged developers to apply for other Xbox positions within the company to receive priority consideration. Matt Booty shared the following email internally confirming that Rare IP Everwild, Perfect Dark, and other unannounced projects have been canceled. Windows Central understands that one of these projects was ZeniMax Online's new MMO RPG, Blackbird, previously meant to succeed The Elder Scrolls Online. The initiative is the only studio closure planned today, although some other teams have seen cuts of varying degrees. Yada, yada, yada. The big thing I wanted to point out from Phil Spencer's, or no, this was, this is Matt Booty's thing, but Phil Spencer's basically said, a letter said something like, we're doing great, everything's going well, but that's only because we made cuts that were continuing to be successful. So we have to do it again, basically. Microsoft's layoff round has hit 9,000 staffers in various divisions, from Azure to Xbox, although information with us suggests the Xbox next-gen console hardware plans remain unaffected. Boys, it's kind of been a long time thing that I'm sympathetic to people. Obviously, we're sympathetic to people who get laid off, but I'm sympathetic as well because sometimes companies have to make layoffs, and I understand how that goes. I think sometimes companies don't have to make layoffs, and that's a totally different story. But this is a lot of people, and it's a lot of projects. And as I mentioned earlier, something just in my guts tells me it's probably not over. But I want to get your guys' reactions on this. Dave, we'll go to you first.
I always thought it was kind of an odd choice giving the Perfect Dark project to a new team. Granted, they had support from Crystal Dynamics, but it seems like maybe you're setting up a studio like this for failure when you give them something that, I don't think Perfect Dark is up there with Elder Scrolls, but it is something that longtime fans have been kind of seeking after something for a long time, and I think people were left kind of disappointed by Perfect Dark Zero for Xbox 360. And I don't know, I just think this was an odd choice. Again, to echo what you said, Ben, I'm not surprised, and we're going to talk about Everwild in a minute, but there's going to be a lot of project victims coming up, and the higher the risk, the more likely it is going to be kind of left behind. So really shouldn't come as too much of a surprise. And it's all kind of unfortunate because what this means is we're going to see a lot less riskier titles and a lot more sure bets. And the sure bets are the sequels, the things with built-in monetization and all the kind of stuff that we're a little bit kind of icky about. So I don't know. I didn't ever play Perfect Dark back in the N64 days. I never actually had a perfect or an N64, so this isn't something that hurts me. To kind of feel for what was a young studio who I think was put in a precarious position, ultimately not having their work see the light of day. And this game appeared to have been in development hell. It just got a brand new lead back in October. It was the guy who had left Wolverine. He was a creative director at Wolverine and came over to lead this game. So when you have a game that's in development for that long and then suddenly gets a new creative lead, it's not a good sign. So I guess the only other thing I'll reiterate here is it doesn't necessarily mean that this game was, dead on arrival or anything like that, but clearly Microsoft just has a lot of trimming to do, and things like this are not going to see the light of day. So it's a sad day, but I do have to, again, kind of echo what Ben was saying, where businesses aren't charities. They're designed to make money, and if something is viewed to be more of a risk than it is as something that's going to bring in meaningful profit and meaningful business, then it doesn't make business sense. So yeah.
Brandon, you know what? I want to go ahead and do this next story and then you get your feedback because it's tied in here as well. This is from Kotaku. In addition to the Initiative and Perfect Dark and all that kind of stuff, Microsoft has also killed Sea of Thieves Studios' long-troubled action-adventure Everwild. Rather than doing the humane and dignified thing of telling thousands of people all at once whether they're going to have a job or not tomorrow, this is just going over the same stuff all over again. Basically, Jason Schreier says that the game has been canceled. According to people familiar with the situation, Everwild was officially announced almost 6 years ago and was described as a mix between action-adventure and Rare's cult hit Viva Pinata. Schreier described the game as troubled, having been in development for over a decade. While Spencer had given positive updates on the game as recently as last year, Everwild had been conspicuously absent from most of the Xbox showcases since 2020. All that to say, Everwild has also been canceled, and likely layoffs happened at Rare as well, although we don't have specifics outside of maybe a few people who have posted on LinkedIn or social media. Okay, so your thoughts on the whole mess at Microsoft, or do you think it's a lack of a mess?
Yeah, I mean, truly, you've kind of outlined it here. I feel like both of the games you mentioned were having issues. I think this is Xbox trimming the fat. They've made some really good deals. We've talked a lot lately how they're partnering with people, very financially responsible decisions. And Xbox is trying to ensure the longevity of the company and the future, even though hardware sales are down. They're shifting the model. And literally, all this signals to me is when you have a team working on something for long enough, this is what you should do. It sucks because real people are involved. People's talent, blood, sweat, and tears, 8, 9, a combined 16 years of the life between both of these games is put into these games. But the reality is if they're not able to turn something over, if they're not able to put out a gameplay trailer, if they're not able to keep the hype, this is smart for Xbox, unfortunately. And I don't want to say that because, like I said, real people are involved. But this is purely a business decision, and it makes complete sense why these games that are failing to launch, failing to spread their wings, failing to gain hype would then be canned. It does suck with titles like Perfect Dark. I never played the originals, any of them actually. Obviously people are hungry for that sort of thing, but that simply isn't enough. I mean, the game has to get to market, and that seems to be the problem that these games are having. One, they want to put out a good product, and two, they want to get it out at all. So the fact that neither one of those things is happening in a long time with a lot of money being invested, it makes complete sense why this happened. Yeah, man, that's all I got to say about that.
Well, we will continue to see what happens. Maybe this is the end. Maybe it's not. I have a feeling we'll find out for sure about ripple effects because, I'm sure that the whole percentage that they mentioned is not just a couple projects, but, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see more things happen in the future.
I gotta say that if I know nobody asked, but if I had to compare my level of disappointment between the two, Everwilds is the one that really kind of hurts because this looked like a game that had a significant budget and was taking risks. It was, it's kind of an artistic looking game, but it's not an indie. It's not a 3-hour experience. It looked like the sort of thing that was going to be something that Microsoft was going to put a lot of kind of marketing heart behind. And we just saw earlier this year with Expedition 33 how sometimes risk can reap really, really big rewards. So the question here is I start to think about some of the past directs I've seen or developer showcases where I saw a game and I'm like, that game looks pretty cool. I'm going to keep my eye on that, but there was no release date and I haven't heard anything in a while. And it's like, oh no, is that game going to come out? And it just kind of sucks because, we get the COD by the numbers every single year and it sells like insane numbers. And it's just like, are we going to see these riskier, more interesting titles? And I don't know. Everwild kind of hurts. We didn't see much about it, but when you see games like that getting canceled, it's kind of scary. It really is.
Yeah. And I want to say that I saw some rumor, or maybe it was factual, of what's their name? The guys who do Forza.
Oh, Playground.
Playground.
yeah, losing some people as well, which I don't know if there's a project attached to that, but
They're working
See,
on Fable.
no. So they split Playground into two teams.
Okay.
One's working on Fable and one's working on Forza, which was confirmed by. We didn't know if there was another Forza. Obviously, we assume there is.
yeah.
Motorsport last year didn't do too well. There wasn't a lot of buzz around that, but that signals differently to me. If that is true, Ben, and Playground is losing some of their team, that signals to me way differently than these two games do, because Forza Horizon, which is their next iteration, think about how many copies the last Forza sold and how much money it continues to make. We don't have the exact stats on it, but they pump out content.
I gotta stop you. I messed it up. It's turn 10.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Forza proper.
It's Forza Motorsport.
Yeah.
Okay, so that actually does make sense. Because like I said, Forza Motorsport kind of came and went and was
According to Schreier, which he says according to a source, nearly 50% of their staff.
Yeah. Motorsport, I think, underperformed severely, notably in comparison to Horizon, but
Potential layoffs, and just in comments I see here on articles and tweets and whatever Blue Skies things are called. Halo Studios, Raven. Yeah.
Do you think anyone's safe?
I mean, unless there's like a couple projects, and I mean, maybe the Fable team, maybe, something that's coming out relatively soon, whatever. But like, if they really are just doing a restructuring and trying to cut bleeding, if that's what's happening, then to say, okay, we got to take, knock out these projects entirely. They're done. Everybody who's working on them's laid off. And then everybody else has got to take a 5% cut. I'm making up numbers here, but everybody else has got to find 5% of your staff to let go. And it's going to hurt, but it's got to happen. That's pretty standard for like large corporate things where there's a lot of different departments, and you could say that the studios are the departments of Microsoft or Xbox, whatever. So in that respect, I would assume no one is safe. But again, that's just me thinking corporate stuff, not having actually any information.
Project-wise, you got to think that there are as close as sure bets as you can get in certain, and we just talked about Forza Horizon. I got to think that's untouchable. The new Gears, probably untouchable. Whatever is going on with Halo, no matter what you think that franchise and its standing is now compared to where it used to be, I still think that's an untouchable. So, yeah, I think there's things they can't touch. But unfortunately, with all of the acquisitions they've made over the past several years, there's a lot that can be cut and will be cut.
Yeah.
And I guess the sense is that today was the start, but this is going to go on all week, right?
That's my impression. Yeah. I mean, I'm not getting get back into the whole mergers and acquisitions thing, but by and large, acquisitions don't create jobs. That's just not how that works. And this is maybe a little delayed from that, but we saw a bunch last year too. Anyway, moving on. Outriders 2, this is from thethumbwars.com, whatever site that is. People Can Fly recently made a shock announcement that 2 major projects that the studio was working on have been canceled, and Thumbwars has now learned that one of these was the much-demanded Outriders 2. We learned that the development team not only became aware of the gravity of the studio's situation at the same time as everyone else after speaking to an insider source, who, under the promise of being kept anonymous, also gave us information regarding a canceled project in question. It has been confirmed and corroborated by another source that one of the 2 canceled titles, officially referred to as Project Gemini, was in fact Outriders 2. The game was reportedly nearly finished, but due to circumstances reportedly outside the studio's control, People Can Fly was forced to cancel the project, as was publicly announced on their press Project Bifrost was the name of the second canceled title, and it was a live service game not based on a previously established IP. Despite being a brand new IP, our source told us that the game failed to generate enthusiasm internally, and even within the studio was even seen as a generic, trend-chasing product lacking in originality and creativity. Boys, do you think People Can Fly is going to make it? It doesn't seem like it to me.
No. No, I mean, their track record has not been great. A lot of the games they've put out either have not come out recently or have not been very great. The last thing they put out was Bulletstorm VR in 2024. Did anybody play that? I didn't even know it came out. There's another VR game. The last really big thing they had was Outriders, and that was in 2021. So it feels like they've kind of been treading water. I don't know if they're still collecting money off of helping develop Save the World from Epic. I would imagine that would end at some point, and I know it's not the most popular version of Fortnite, but I'm assuming they got something from it. So yeah, it's really not looking good. It's really not looking good. Did you guys have much experience with Outriders? That was a game that I kind of missed altogether.
Dave platinumed it.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Was there really like that much of a push, Dave? Did you really want an Outriders too? Was that something you needed? Something that would have interested you?
Fuck yeah. Big time. I loved Outriders. And the interesting thing about Outriders is it was People Can Fly were very outspoken leading up to its release that it is not a live service game. The game you get on day one is the game. And I don't know if World Slayers, the DLC, had been announced at launch, but it came out short, like a year after and gave you a little bit more content. And that's Outriders. It was done. And, the other thing about Outriders, it was very close to launch. It was announced that it was going to be day one on Game Pass. And that kind of made people raise a bit of an eyebrow about the state in which this game was going to come out in. And it kind of signaled that there wasn't a lot of confidence from Square Enix in this game coming out. But it came out and it was, it wasn't a world beater, but it had a lot of players, and again, most of them on Game Pass. But and one of the biggest complaints I think from the player base that I remember hearing is lack of an end game. People just wanted more. So we just talked about Everwilds and how creative risks are not sure bets and they're not going to get funded. But here's a game where you have a dedicated fan base who are going to be there day one for a sequel. And you could easily turn this game into a games as a service or just have a little bit more monetization in game. And I think that would be a very low risk project. And it's the sort of thing where I'm really surprised that Square Enix or some other publisher hasn't come along and scoop this up, because I think there's a lot of people who want a sequel. And I think you could easily monetize a game like this. So whether, the sequel launched on Game Pass and then it had some sort of battle pass or seasonal stuff, I just think it would work. And I loved the first game and I love that it felt like a game from 2008. But I think there was a lot of people who really loved the original who just wanted it to be a live service game. Yes, it's chasing trends, but sometimes it just works well. So the article talked about how some of their other projects were generic live service, but this is a game where you have a lot of people who already love it. So why not? But yeah, I really like Outriders too. And this article did mention that it has been reported that this game was pretty far in development, if not almost complete. So I hope, we don't know much about the source, but I hope that's true. And I hope somebody does come along and pick this up, because yeah, I really loved me some Outriders. It was a lot of fun.
The article also mentions that People Can Fly is working with Krafton, Sony, Project Echo, Delta, and Gears of War E-Day. So I assume they're a support studio, which will preserve them for a little while for sure. But it's interesting that they would be so far along in development and cancel a project. Now, maybe nearly done means nearly content complete, but not anywhere near release. I don't know. I don't know what that really looks like. But if I had to guess, somebody pulled their funding and they just literally couldn't do it anymore. But that's a total shot in the dark guess. Sorry, Dave. Sorry about your game.
Brandon, I don't know, but I feel like you would enjoy Outriders.
Probably. Yeah, probably. I've I've seen it before. I just never took the plunge. Isn't it best played like with people?
I played it solo and I enjoyed it. I played a little bit with Boo, but you don't need to play with people, but you can, and it does help a little. But
I also was looking it up. I would have to play it on console because I guess the PC lobbies are incredibly dead.
Right.
Well,
I don't know if it has crossplay.
I mean, what I did play was solo. But Brandon, if it has crossplay and Dave wants to play it again, I own it on Steam. There's another copy in our Steam library that you could play, and we could pick up Dave, and we could
I'm down.
run through it.
Keep the servers running, boys. They'll see +3 online, and they'll greenlight it.
The Steam charts might get up over 300 if we get up over 300 concurrent players. If we get
It's funny because obviously that's a joke because 300 would be low for a game of this size. But think about like putting out a game and 4 years later, 300 people at the same time are playing it. That's pretty cool. Anyway, next, Rockstar. This comes from Polygon. It says Rockstar breathes new life into Red Dead Online with zombies, robots, and other strange tales. Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer mode, Red Dead Online, hasn't seen much action since Rockstar Games' 2022 announcement that it would be cutting back support for the game. But it seems the studio hasn't completely given up on the live service title, as Rockstar has just released Strange Tales of the West Volume 1, a new set of Telegram missions that introduce a multitude of strange new features to the game, including zombies and robots. It includes a bunch of different missions that list them out here. To access these, players must retrieve Theodore Levin's letter from their camp lockbox or any in-game post office to start the missions. Whatever, you can look it up if you want to play. Boys, this is really interesting because, as the article said, it's been over 3 years since they said they were going to cut back support, and I don't understand why they would have, unless this is just like some content they had from before that they never released. Why now? It's weird to me.
I think that they're trying to emulate what they're doing with GTA. I swear to God, there's a new DLC that comes out for GTA Online like every couple months.
Right.
I think they're trying to get a dual source of income like this. I think the rise of RP really was popularized in GTA 5, but more recently, and has been happening since the beginning of that, is Red Dead RP. Seeing a large increase in Red Dead RP content online. So I wonder if that's gaining traction again as well, and they're kind of seeing numbers fluctuate and maybe increase, and wondering if they could pull some extra spending from here. It's an easy win for them. I mean, truthfully, they put out some DLC. If you could draw players in and get them to spend actual money on your game, if they were able to make Red Dead Online like their GTA, there would be no stopping them. It's never going to get to that level, I don't think, but breathing some life into this, when I feel like I've said openly before, and I will double down, I feel like they have kind of neglected that online in favor of GTA 5. Just to kind of get people reinterested in it again. I think this is really good.
Interesting trends here on SteamDB. Going back to September of 22, which is as far back. No, actually here. Okay. When the game first came out in 2020, December 2020, or at least that's the maximum data that SteamDB has, about 20,000 players. It pretty quickly, within a few months, dropped down to 3,300 and kind of hovered, within a few percent of there for a long time. Then it dipped down a little bit more. And then for some reason, in March of this year, it hopped back up from like 2,000, 2,500 all the way back up to like 4,000. And it doesn't look like it's gotten a big spike with this content specifically.
Isn't there a next-gen update or something recently?
That makes sense. If I have Red Dead 2 on PC, do I have Red Dead Online, or is it a separate client?
Either way, I think it's free.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure if you have Red Dead the game, I think it's tied into that. I think GTA is the only one, and I could be wrong, but I think GTA is the only one that has a separate thing altogether that you can get.
Part of me wants to hop in and just be a cowboy, man.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Like, leave this life behind and just become a cowboy.
Yeah. Hit the dusty road.
It's a pretty hilarious like blue ballsing tease that's going on here because 3 years ago they pretty much say we're not supporting this anymore except for the bare minimum. And then out of nowhere, we get new missions, and it even says volume 1, so you know there's more coming. But the funniest part is it's so close to Undead Nightmare, which is one of the best DLCs of all time, that it's kind of like they're just teasing the hell out of their fan base that like something significant is coming. But at the end of the day, it's probably just going to be a few random missions, and we're not going to see anything. But this has always been a blind spot for me. Brandon, what was so poor about Red Dead Online compared to GTA Online?
I don't think it was anything incredibly standout. Just think it's more appealing for most people to play a game like GTA 5 online because there's more modern amenities. I think that much like the game itself, Red Dead Online can be just kind of slow and arduous. And I think that's what a lot of people had problems with.
Right.
It also, I remember people complaining about they like limited the amount of wildlife that was around, so you couldn't like game the economy, and like they changed some stuff that I remember people kind of bitching about around when it released. Honestly, I tried GTA Online once and it was so boring the beginning of it that I didn't try it again. I'm sure it's changed significantly since then, and that's probably less of a problem with the game, or less of a problem with the game and more of a problem with me. But I think GTA Online is probably great. Or I'm sorry, Red Dead Online is probably great, but it just didn't pull the numbers like GTA 5 Online did. And I think that's probably because of the pacing of the game and the subject matter.
I just want to let everybody know that Red Dead Online is free if you have Red Dead Redemption 2 on Steam, at least. I assume it's the same on other storefronts. And you can also purchase Red Dead Online for, at least now, right this moment, for $10 USD as a standalone. Now, the full game is only like 20, so, or 15 maybe even. So just play the whole game, but if you haven't played it. But if you're itching to be a cowboy. Oh, also, I just hit the download button. So
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry.
He's leaving his life behind.
I mean, what's probably going to happen is I'm going to download this 120 gig game, play online for like 2 hours some night, and then
Delete it.
never play it again. But I do have a tendency to get sucked into stuff, and you know, I'm going to be a cowboy baby. So that's what it is. Death Stranding 2. Maybe Death Stranding 2 was the cause of my problems. Death Stranding 2 is causing some PS5s to overheat, according to Push Square. It says, not everyone's having a great weekend with the game. A number of players have complained that the release's map screen is causing their PS5 consoles to overheat. A fairly active Reddit post reports the issue. I've been playing the game on a base PS5 and overall it runs great. The graphics are stunning and I've had no issues during regular gameplay. But as soon as I pause the game and the map screen comes up, the fan suddenly goes into overdrive and I get an overheat warning. It's strange because everything else runs smoothly even during long gameplay sessions. But the moment I bring up the map and start planning a route, the fan suddenly goes crazy and I get an overheating warning. I just cleaned the console recently, and it's in a well-ventilated spot, so airflow shouldn't be a problem. A new patch was released recently, but it doesn't sound like it's resolved the problem. This is not the user talking anymore. And this particular user doesn't sound like they're alone. Somebody else said, I've got the exact same problem. I'm using an original PS5 digital edition. Fans start screaming only on the map menu. It sounds like the issue was isolated to the base PS5, with the PS5 Pro holding up better. Boys, it's interesting because it's not that the game itself is overheating the console. It's not that the console is just having issue with everything in general. But I did see that this is I wouldn't say widespread, but fairly common complaint on the internet, that the map on Death Stranding 2 is causing some issues. Brandon, what do you think about that?
This is not a unique take of mine. I was just looking through this article in the original Reddit post of the person complaining about it. Someone surmised in the comments that it's possible that it unlocks the frame rate when you're in the map mode, and it's possible that the PlayStation is trying to compensate for that and then trying to run it through the roof. It's maybe a simple locked 60 on the map would help, but yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, especially for me specifically. I would wonder if this would happen with the Pro as well. I would doubt it, but having a base PS5, I would be a little hesitant um, until this gets fixed, really. Uh, I don't want my PlayStation overheating. I've had consoles in the past completely just shit the bed. Ben had a console catch on fire. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what I'm saying is I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
You could just try not using the map the entire game. That usually works out well in Death Stranding.
Right. Just pure, wins,
Just wing it.
Yeah. Memorize the map. Google image search the map and just, go by visuals.
Print it out, put it on your wall.
Yeah.
It's funny, we used to do that because you
Yeah.
get either the map in the box, or you get like a strategy guide with a big printout map, and you just kind of look at it. But now you think about like the 3D maps we get where you can zoom in and out, and kind of all the different things that pop up on the map, all the Ubisoft waypoints that you get everywhere, and it's just like we used to just do this with a piece of paper or a map book. You ever have a map book where you went to the back of the map book and you searched Butler and it said go to page 789. You go there and anyways, I'll shut up now.
Dave, before we had maps that came in boxes, back in the SNES days, and even probably in the Nintendo days, but I don't remember doing this for that, but we used to actually draw out maps in games with like Zelda games, and I think one of the original Lord of the Rings games, we drew maps and stuff. Because, when you're in a dungeon and you don't have any way to look it up, that was pretty intimidating.
You do it on like grid paper.
Yeah, legitimately.
You're like 5 paces.
That's
1,
so cool.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Gamers.
Answer Radix question. I had both a 360 and a PS3. So I've had a red ring and a yellow light.
I have had
And
the
a
yellow
flashlight.
light of death. My 360 has been spared for now.
I had multiple versions of both consoles and never had anything happen. Although, I don't know, a couple years ago, I did try to boot up my original 360 and it just didn't turn on. So I don't know if it was a power issue or something otherwise, but
I got lucky though. My first 360, I only had enough money to get a refurbished one from Radic will know the store called Factory Direct, and so I brought it home and it red ringed. So then I thought, I know Microsoft is being really lenient right now, so I called them and they replaced it for me, even though it was definitely not under warranty because somebody had probably tried to refurbish it themselves. But I got a new one, and then that one red ringed several years later. So yeah,
karma.
yeah.
So you got a couple years out of it.
Yeah.
Was it fixable?
I don't know.
I remember people like forcing their like
yeah.
They were like putting them in blankets and running it so it would red ring itself, and then you could send it back and get a new one. But there was a while there where Microsoft was just sending out the same Xboxes that were still susceptible to red ringing, so you kind of had to wait until the Slims came, I think, when the problem was actually fixed.
Yeah. I'm fortunate that my original Xbox 360 is apparently toast. I haven't really tried much after that, but I did buy a Slim with the 4 gigabyte hard drive in it after the fact. Like while the Xbox was still out, I did that. Was the red ring? I know people did that to try to force it so that they could take it in and like trade it into GameStop or something. But wasn't there another reason to do it? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either.
I thought there was another reason that people would do it, to get it to run for a certain amount of time, maybe. Anyway, it's about enough of that. Let's talk about what we've been playing. Brandon, you're up first.
So I completed Resident Evil 4 today.
Okay.
Excellent game. I will say I like Resident Evil 2 better than 4. I do. Resident Evil tends to do this thing where it just lingers a little bit longer than it should, just like a chapter or two. There was a couple times when I was playing Resident Evil 4, and I don't want this to come off as me not enjoying the game, because I very thoroughly enjoyed it. But I recognize this as a huge problem in 4. I recognize this as a huge problem in Village. If they would have condensed part of the end or stopped it a little sooner, I think the product would have been better overall. Now, mind you, Village and 4 are fantastic, absolutely amazing games. But it seems to be something they do often. And I remember even 7 feeling like that a little bit, but not as bad as Village and 4. But yeah, excellent. Very, very good. 2 is still the king for me right now. It's 2 and 7. I'll be getting into 5 here shortly. I said this last week, but I'm like really not looking forward to it.
Sorry, you have not played 5 before?
I've not played any of the ones except for 7 or Village up until this point.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so 5 and 6. 7 and 8 are going to be the payoff, really. But I just got to get through 5 and 6. Correct me if I'm wrong, but why does RE4 seem so much more anime than the other ones? Like, there was points when like Leon's fighting some of the guys, it just seemed like dramatic anime to me. And I know it's Japanese, right? That's fine. But Leon is so cunty. I love it. He's just some of the one-liners, and I know things have changed from the remake, but honestly, too funny and a lot of fun. I think I'm past the best of what I haven't played already. Like I said, 7 and 8 will obviously be the payoff, but I don't really think I'm going to enjoy 5 and 6 very much. So maybe you guys can disagree, or maybe try and convince me that I'm going to enjoy it a little bit, but I really don't think it's going to be that enjoyable.
I think it's pretty widely agreed upon that 5 and 6 are the worst of the mainline series, but also, if you play them anticipating you're not going to enjoy them, you're definitely not going to enjoy them.
Let me say, the experience I'm having now with Village compared to 7 is very similar to what I remember 5 being to 4, where 5 for me was just as good as a game to play, but the problem is it leaned a little bit too more into the action than it did what I wanted from a Resident Evil game. Now, Village isn't doing that nearly as much as 5 did, but I think at its core, 5 is still a fun game to play. It's just, it doesn't feels more like Gears of War at times than it does. There's still tension and stuff, but
sure. Yeah, it's just hard standing up to the rest of them. The remakes are fantastic. I really wonder, I know 9's coming out now. I wonder what they're going to do next. I would love for them to continue the remake series. Obviously, not obvious to me, but I guess 5 is controversial in some ways. I really want them to redo Resident Evil 1 really badly. I feel like that game, of all of them, could use the biggest upgrade. But yeah, man, it's great. That's literally all I've been playing. We were away this weekend at Too Many Games, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's it.
Well, congrats is in order, because you're halfway through.
I'm halfway through.
Good man.
Halfway through the year, a little bit over halfway through the year, but I'm halfway through the games. So
nice. Dave, go ahead.
I have been playing a little bit more Gran Turismo 7. I've just been trying to do exactly what I said I wasn't going to do, which is to try to get all the golds in the new master license tests, and I knocked off a few more this week. As I said before, they're really, really hard, but once I start them, I can't stop, and I just have to get gold each and every time. And what I didn't realize is I thought there was just like one new master license, but there isn't. There's like just as many as there was. So they've doubled the amount of licenses. But again, once I've started it, I'm not going to be able to stop. And Radic just asked, am I going to go for the platinum? The answer, I have never intended to go for the platinum because it's just too grindy. I hate the fact that there are 3 cars, legend cars, that you have to purchase in order to get the platinum, which is fine. But the problem is those cars are not always available. They only come up every couple of months or something. So you literally have to grind out to get an obscene amount of credits and then just wait for these cars to come on sale. And I don't want to do that. It's like a different type of sick RNG. But in any case, I'm still enjoying what I'm playing. There was a new update this week that didn't really add much, except it added the Lancia Delta Integrale 1992 World Rally Class cross car. That's one of my favorite cars of all time. And it's cool to have that car in the game, which is also available from the Legends dealership. So yeah. The other thing I started playing was Ben talking about Borderlands last week inspired me to pick up Borderlands 2 and play it. And the more I think about Borderlands 4, the more hype I get. And it's weird because this time last year I was playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and I had a really good time with that game. But I remember thinking, like, I feel like I'm starting to reach my limits with Borderlands, and I didn't really play much. And then earlier this year, I played a little bit more Borderlands 3 to get the platinum. And I don't know what's changed, but I think Borderlands 4 is at the moment my most anticipated game coming out for the rest of the year, which is saying a lot because Ghost of Yotei is also coming out this year, and I really, really want to play that game. But the other thing that was cool about playing Borderlands is 99% of the gaming I do is right here. I have my PS5, my Xbox Series S, and my GameCube all attached to the same monitor that I work from and that I do this podcast from. And I got kind of used to sitting in a chair at a desk and playing games here with my laptop playing Twitch. But for some reason, when I wanted to play Borderlands 2, I wanted it to feel like 2008 again. So I sat on my couch behind me and I turned on my Xbox 360 and I played Borderlands 2 with 2-minute long load times and a really loud fan coming from the Xbox 360. And I had my feet up on the couch, and it felt like real nostalgic gaming, which I don't know if Borderlands 2 is really nostalgic yet or retro, but it felt good. It felt kind of good for me because I haven't really gamed like that in a long time. But Borderlands 2 has held up. It's the best game in the series for a reason, and I'm excited for Borderlands 4 to potentially enhance on that in some ways and go back to the basics in others. And yeah, Borderlands is probably one of my favorite series of all time. I can comfortably say that, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been continuing to play Borderlands GOTY Edition on the Steam Deck. I don't really have anything new to report about it. There's nothing that I'm like revelatory about that I'm like, oh wow, I totally didn't catch this the first 2 times I played it, but it's good. It's just Borderlands 1 again. So I'm excited to get to 2 because I remember really liking 2. And I think I only played 2 one time. So we'll get there eventually. They all run great. All 3 of them plus the pre-sequel apparently run great on Steam Deck. So I'm planning on playing them all there. But let's do that in. I've been playing a little bit of Hunt with my buddy Jimmy. There's a new event out that I barely touched last week. It came out beginning of last week, I think. I barely got to touch it. So we played the last couple nights, and it's fine. It's just the same event as before, but they brought back an old map that they redid, and it looks beautiful. But it's Hunt, and I think I shared it in the Discord, but I don't think I mentioned it on the show. I hit Prestige 10, so I have officially completed that resolution or goal or challenge, depending on who you are and what you want to say. It is done.
Was that your most ambitious challenge for the year?
It is pretty ambitious.
Right.
Yeah. Good. I mean, in fairness, that one you could PvE grind it out if you really needed to. It would take a long time, but you could do it. It helps if you're, doing well and killing people, etc. But the Marvel Rivals Platinum, you have to have your skill factors into it, but you have to have like that is totally dependent upon other people, both the people you're playing with and against. So I guess you could say that was my most ambitious, even though I got it done first, because it was entirely possible that I wouldn't have achieved that one, no matter how hard I tried. Whereas Hunt, I could have achieved it. It just may have, I may have had to, if I didn't do well, I would have had to put in extra hours. So I guess it just depends on how you look at it. I've been playing, I don't know if I'm going to continue playing it or not, but Death Stranding, the first Death Stranding, I decided I played Death Stranding twice for 25 hours ish a piece, and I never finished it. And I was like, you know what? Death Stranding 2 is coming out. The hype was getting me. I was like, I'm going to go back and actually finish it. The beginning of that game sucks so bad, and like it's good. It's just that it's like 4 hours of cutscenes. And I know that a lot of the game has cutscenes in it and everything, and that's fine, but at least you get to like play the game.
That's Kojima, dude.
I know it's Kojima. I know.
That's
but it's just like, I just got to like the 5 or 6 hour mark, and I'm like, am I done now? Like, I might just be done with it. It's an amazing game, and like every time I play any of it, I love it. But I'm like, I might, if I'm going to play Death Stranding 2, I might just go watch a walkthrough and play it. Because now that I know there's something out that's got so many improvements and that's being very well reviewed and enjoyed, I'm like, I just want to get to that if I'm going to play it.
Right.
So Death Stranding 1, I still, like, I love that parts of that game I've played, and I know that I've gotten pretty close to beating it. But I don't know if I have it in me this time to go back to it again. Even after I played 5 more hours of it again. So, but yeah, that wasn't all this week. That was the last couple weeks, but I just forgot to mention it. And then the last thing is a game. It's Ball Pit. It's stylized as Ball X Pit. I just played the demo. This is a game that Devolver's putting out, and it was revealed, I don't know, a little while back, and then it was in Next Fest, but the demo's out. And I was just like, you know what? I want to check it out because I always love Devolver stuff. And it's really interesting. Let me just read you the description on Steam that they have for it. Ball X Pit is a brick-breaking, ball-fusing, base-building survival roguelike. Batter hordes of enemies with ricocheting balls and gather the riches of the pit to expand your homestead, generate resources, and recruit unique heroes. So the story here is you're in like this, I don't know, essentially a tunnel, and your character has balls that they can shoot out, and all the different balls have different powers and different effects and everything like that, and you're just destroying enemies as you're progressing forward. And if they get too close to you, they start to attack you, you have a limited amount of health, and you die and start over. You just continue to do that until you get to the boss and take out the boss, whatever. The interesting part is the roguelike part of it, which is where when you either finish a run or you die, you take the resources you've gathered, you go back to like, they call it a homestead, your the out of the game part. And you can like use your resources to build farms or to build forests or new houses. Some of the houses help you unlock characters. Some of the buildings allow you to get better stats for your characters based on if they're there or not. And then the resources you plant, they grow in between runs, and then you harvest them. And you harvest them by actually getting characters that then you aim at a certain trajectory, and whatever they bounce off of is the resource they get. And you also, in order to build stuff, you have to not only place it, but then bounce the little characters off of it in that harvest mode. It's pretty cool. It's a cool concept. I like survival games. I like roguelike games. I like base building, and brick breaking is fun. But it's just a cool concept, and it's something that I thought would be fun to enjoy. So I played that for a few hours, just like the last couple nights. It's very simple, but I imagine there's a lot of strategies and combinations and power-ups and everything that you can get to really make your character pretty OP to go through a run with. It's fun. I'd encourage you to check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, it's from, Devolver's publishing it. So if Devolver's publishing something, like, it may not be an instant buy because they definitely put out stuff before that's been not quite my vibe, but I know it's going to be quality.
Right.
Because they don't put their name on or invest in things that aren't superb. So that's all for me.
That's it.
Dave has a very puzzled look on his face. Is he thinking about balls? Yes.
Ball pit, baby.
Usually.
Anything else, boys, that I'm missing?
That's it.
Don't forget to join us on Patreon at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We'd appreciate having you there for as little as $1. And you can also join us on Discord at handsomephantom.com/Discord. Hang out with us. We appreciate everybody being around, and we will catch you on the flippity flip.